All right. What do you say about Joe? Number one, he had 1 second place ribbon, 1 third place, and 1 fourth. But he is also ranked number 10 in the javelin in the state of Washington.
All right, Joe.
Even with the javelin that we throw against every other kid in the state of Washington, he's number 10. And there was approximately 2,500 kids on the list that he had to compete against with that javelin at his age group. Being number 10 is pretty good. Okay? A little story about Joe. Joe was going to quit. He was getting frustrated. He couldn't figure it out. He was having a tough time, and he was going to quit. But his parents stepped up and said, "No, you signed up to play track. You're going to finish the season. You don't want to play next year. You can make that decision next year. You said you're going to do it this year, so you're going to stick with it." Your parents came and talked to me. I understood his frustration. With 30 kids, I didn't have a lot of time to spend with each individual kid, trying to get him to develop. I did spend some extra time with Joe, trying to get him to do the javelin, which ended up number 10, so I must be a good coach. He couldn't get in the javelin. If you're not familiar with it, you need to run, you need to turn sideways, karaoke step, and then throw your hips and launch the javelin all in one motion. And that's what he was having trouble with. He couldn't get all of that timing down perfectly. His footwork, his hips, his arm, and the release, he couldn't get that down. The javelin would flop over, it would go sideways, it would go straight down to the ground, struggling, and he got frustrated. At the very first track meet, in White Salmon, it was our track meet, I'm going around all the different events trying to I want to watch every kid do at least one throw or one run in their events. I just happened to be there the first throw that Joe made. And I'm sitting there watching, and he goes back, and he's kind of looking around, looking at the sky. He starts in and starts running. He turned, sideways, karaoke step, threw his arm back, threw the javelin out there, and that's where he threw his 30 feet, 8 inches. Everything was perfect. It was as if he had written it up in a book, copied it, and set it down. His feet didn't even come back to the ground, and he was fisting. Because he knew that he had done it right. The first time that he actually got it right was in a meet that counted. And he had a grin from ear to ear when he turned around and looked. I thought he was looking at me, but he wasn't looking at me. At the same moment, he was doing this after he threw that thing. I felt a hand on my shoulder. I didn't know what it was, but I turned around. And even then, I wasn't sure who it was. I didn't know her very well. None at all. It was his mother. And she goes, "I've never seen him that happy." He's crying. Wow. That's why I coach. You get those kind of benefits from coaching these kids. That's why I don't do high school. I don't really care doing high school. Honestly, I don't like dealing with egos. But at this level, I have fun, and that made my season. The rest of the season could have gone right down the old toilets, and I wouldn't have cared. Because that made my season. That one moment and that satisfaction of what he did meant everything to me as a coach. He didn't get a lot of ribbons, but I'll tell you what, I will take his heart and his desire on my team in any sport that he wants to play until he gets out of middle school. I hope he turns out for every sport, because that's what you want on your team. Congratulations, Joe.